Yeah, so thanks for your presentation. I think that was great. We have one more presentation from our friends at Bluegrass, and so this is for the category for student success. And I was talking with some of the award team members earlier, and if I remember correctly, this is the category that we had by far the most submissions for, which I think is a testament to the work that we're doing across the system to promote student success, that we have so many things going on that we had a lot of submissions for this. So it was a really competitive process, but we ended up landing on this one as the winner. So we're gonna have a team from Bluegrass, including Nathan Smith, Shelby Carter, Andy Ball, Bill Snyder, Brian Deedle, Crystal Weeks, and John Thrower, talking about the work that they're doing with tutoring. So turn it over to you all.
Hey everyone, my name is John Thrower, and I'm going to be presenting on behalf of our team, and our team is even bigger than what is listed here, but everybody in this list and all of our colleagues deserve an immense amount of credit for this particular student success initiative. I am the embedded tutor coordinator. I'm also a humanities faculty member at BCTC, so I have several different roles. But I want to talk about what specifically we're doing with embedded tutoring. And here are some of the things I'm going to talk about, just getting a definition of embedded tutoring, which I think is important. A lot of people don't know what embedded tutoring is. There are different definitions of embedded tutoring for different institutions. I want to talk about where we were in the past, so how we got to this particular place, how we've been able to manage, and where we're headed next. So to get started, what is embedded tutoring? Embedded tutoring is a form of supplemental instruction in which a tutor is attached to a specific section of a course. That's the short way to think about it. So when we think about how this program developed, I think it's important to think about what was happening before the program started. And I also think it's important to conceptualize problems as being opportunities. So in the past, we were not in a good place with academic student support or tutoring at BCTC. It was not a focal point of the college. Some campuses lacked tutoring altogether. I'm thinking about 7 campuses, but even our larger ones did not have significant tutoring. Tutoring was decentralized, so some tutoring was managed by library staff, some tutoring was managed by individual departments, but there was no centralization for tutoring. There were no tutoring experts present. And this happens a lot when tutoring is not a robust part of a campus. You'll see tutoring being housed with a library or under a library. That's a very common thing we see, but centralization is really key to making tutoring successful. In short, academic support was failing. And when I arrived at BCTC in 2016, I was teaching as an adjunct, and I had trouble getting tutoring for my students. And I was not in a rural campus. I was in Lexington, and I was frustrated. I had come from not just a faculty member in English position, but as a learning center administrator in another state. So it was very frustrating for me to learn all of this. But we did have the right people in place. So when we got a new president, Dr. Acapo, who came from another institution in Ohio, we had Terry Buckner, who was the library director. She had overseen some of the tutoring that was happening, but she had been at the campus for a very long time. She was a beloved member of the staff. She knew a lot of people. She could make a lot of connections. And then I came in, I had that background that was both in the classroom and in student support. So we were able to kind of triage, but triangulate also to address the need. So in getting started, we had to think about the process. So what is the structure of embedded tutoring? What training is required? What kind of management does it take to oversee these people? And management is a difficult thing. This is different from having a tutoring center where tutors are in a specific location in a room. These people could be totally remote all of the time. So how do you manage all of these moving parts? You need to know people. You need to make connections with people. That's been a theme this morning, right? Making connections with people. We had a longtime staff member who was able to help us with that. And then we had a new president, and that president came from a school that had large centralized student support for academics. So he was able to push that message from a place of power. And I want to stress too that like this is not just an initiative. It's not just a plan that we have that we try to implement. This is a cultural shift. And as such, it's difficult to maintain, it's difficult to build, but in the end, we hope that it can be successful well into the future because we hope to change the culture. So what is the organization of embedded tutoring? What does it look like? So we can think about it in these three sections. The first would be an administration. So you need faculty and staff leaders with knowledge of not just the college, but tutoring as a discipline. We often think of tutoring as being like, oh, you're a biology tutor, your discipline is biology. Tutoring itself is a discipline. You want to centralize that particular aspect, so tutoring should be centralized. You should have a director of tutoring. That's something that we did not have. We also need to promote this. We need to connect with people. We need to solve problems at the administrative level. And then we need to have faculty and staff buy-in. So we need those staff positions to administrate, but we also need faculty. As I said, embedded tutoring is when you attach a tutor to a section of a course. That means a tutor has 20, 25 students for whom they are responsible, and they don't really work with students outside of that group. So they've got a focused group of students. They also have to form a relationship with the faculty that is strong. The faculty has to be willing to integrate that tutor into the culture of the classroom. And that's a cultural shift. Faculty aren't always used to that. And finally, really the most important piece, you need tutors. You need tutors to connect to faculty, to staff, to students, to administration, and that becomes the real integral piece of all of this. You hire good people to do this good work. So how does it work in context? And again, you have traditional tutoring. Tutors are in a location. They don't leave that location. Students are sent there, or students go there for additional support. You also have a more contemporary development within the discipline of tutoring, which is supplemental instruction. And that is a slightly non-traditional form of tutoring where you have a tutor or a facilitator or leader provide additional support outside of the classroom, but focused on a particular topic. So you may have midterm review in geometry that focuses simply on that test, but it is for a broad group of students, not just one section of students. And as I said, embedded tutoring is more focused on one group of students. So how does it work? Well, you have to train these people. As I said, tutoring is a discipline, which means knowing just your subject is not enough. You need to learn how to tutor. Part of it is like how to teach. That's one role that a tutor kind of takes on. They're never the faculty member, but they do have to learn teaching strategies, learning theories. That is something that we've been engaged in since the very beginning. All of our tutor training modules follow recommendations from the College Reading and Learning Association as we move towards certification. Next piece is ongoing communication, and there is a ton of it. So embedded tutors have regular meetings with an area tutor coordinator, so overseeing, for example, all math embedded tutors. They have regular ongoing communications with their faculty member, the person that they work directly with. I was just texting with my embedded tutor for my English courses. We, as administrators of the program, regularly hold meetings with all of our embedded tutors to talk about a training topic or to make connections, share stories. We want to hear about problems. We want to hear about success stories and share those with everyone. And we also regularly communicate with our own administrators. So we've all been through a very difficult time, and we have all kind of thrived as a result of that. Earlier, Aaron mentioned that greatness can come out of situations where we are truly challenged. And I think a problem is just a challenge. You can rise to meet that. And thankfully, we've been able to do that. So in the beginning of this, after we had a brief pilot in fall of 2019, we noticed some problems in our structure and things that we needed to improve: administration, management, increased buy-in. That was a big one. Getting faculty on board with this is maybe one of the biggest challenges, because again, the tutor, an embedded tutor, must be integrated into the culture of the course. And that does not make teaching easier. The goal is not to make, to make being a faculty member less work, right? The goal is to help students. So full implementation began in the spring of 20, and we had 89 sections served by embedded tutoring. So that's over 3 different types of math courses, 2 biology, 2 English, and a CIT course. This is 51 faculty members working with 49 embedded tutors to serve over 1,500 students. That's the beginning. And then tragedy, right? But we didn't stop. We didn't give up. We were already using Blackboard. Again, we're trying to manage people across 7 campuses, but you may never, as a faculty member, physically meet your embedded tutor. So we are set up to be remote and to use technology to work with our students and with our tutors. So we were already in that position. Also, administration looked to us to assist, because clearly students were going to have trouble. Everything is shut down. We don't know where they are. We don't know how they're doing. We need additional outreach and support. We also had faculty who were shifting to online instruction, and they wanted support as well. And we were particularly geared to know who those faculty members were, to know who their embedded tutor was, to know their students. So we worked to increase knowledge and train others in using both technology and mindfulness. So being kind to each other became a really big piece of all of this. And I don't know that we would have survived at all without that particular piece. So even in the next semester, right, we're looking at 148 sections. So we met that problem by just going at it harder. 148 sections across those same courses. That's 56 faculty working with 53 embedded tutors to help 2,500 students. But we still have common struggles, right? If you decide this sounds like something you want to do, these are things that you should just be aware of, because they're going to happen. It's hard to manage people in a virtual environment. It's that simple, right? What are they doing? When are they doing it? That's hard to know. So those connections become really important. Recruiting embedded tutors is difficult in this economic climate. Recruiting anybody is difficult in this economic climate. Maintaining and getting more faculty buy-in, building trust with faculty members. That means going to a division meeting sometimes and talking to a group, but more often it means having individual one-on-one conversations with people, being honest about the workload, but being honest about the potential for success. Being aware just of the definition of embedded tutoring. That's been a big thing. Most people are aware of tutoring as a general concept, but not everyone is aware of supplemental instruction or embedded tutoring, so getting the knowledge out there is important. Convincing faculty to really implement a tutor in an effective way. So what does it mean to integrate a tutor into the culture of a course? Well, it's about engagement, and it's about building places where embedded tutors are expected to interact with students, where students are expected to interact with embedded tutors. Other common struggles, workload, right? As I said, this is not meant to decrease faculty workload. Some faculty see it that way, and they have to be corrected pretty quickly. The goal is student success, not decreased workload. Stress, and this is everyone's stress. This is stress on behalf of the student, so we train tutors to deal with stressed out students. We have stressed out tutors, faculty, we're stressed out, you're stressed out. We have to deal with that stuff. We also, part of the economic climate piece, lose a lot of people, right? We lose a lot of good talent. And even success can cause additional pressure. That's something to be aware of, especially like think about the people that you work with, your direct colleagues, those who work above and below you. Success adds pressure. But it also feels good. So embedded tutoring provides academic support in a wide array of these general education courses. And, historically, our internal data shows that for English 101, our first year composition course, students improve their grade by 1 letter in the course. They have a 20% point stronger likelihood of graduation. So if you can improve your grade by 1 level, the likelihood of graduation goes up 20%. We also find that a single letter grade improvement for the average student could result in a 12.4% increase in graduation. And here is some of the data, and my eyes are not great, so I'll have to kind of squint a little bit here. But in the red for all of the courses, this is the predicted probabilities of receiving an A in a high impact course by subject and number of collaborative tutoring interactions. So in the red, you see 1 collaborative tutoring session, 5 collaborative tutoring sessions, and then 10. And almost 50% predicted probability of receiving an A if you attend more than 10 collaborative active tutoring sessions. And the likelihood of having that happen when you have 1 tutor who's working with 20 students goes through the roof, right? If I am your tutor in algebra in 1 class, I'm going to see you 25 times a semester. We can work inside of class, we can work outside of class. The opportunity for connection is great. And you can see it here broken down across disciplines with particularly remarkable numbers in biology, which makes sense because there's a lot of memorization in biology, right? So if you repeat those memorization practices, however they look, 10 times, you're going to get an A in biology. And this is the flip side, so the predicted probability of receiving an E in a high impact course with the number of collaborative tutoring interactions. So if you have 10 collaborative tutoring sessions in your biology course, the likelihood of you getting an E is 3.2. So really, really low. A lot of great numbers, and it's nice to be here with my own IPRE department who is able to kind of crunch this data, and I have to thank them. They're a part of the team as well. But it's a real success story. It makes a huge difference. We have all of these numbers and grades go up, and that is great. But trust me, when you get to see students enjoy this and succeed, and they certainly come there with plenty of intellectual ability, but the support being a thing that really makes a difference, that feels great. So what's next? Things that we're going to do in the future. increase offerings. So far, we've been focused on these high impact areas, but we are now prepared to move into other areas. So when we think about moving into other areas, the key thing that we look at is the faculty. Faculty hear good news, right? And they want to get involved. They want their students to succeed, but faculty have to be willing to do that integration piece. You have to have the embedded tutor integrated into the culture of the class. And if we find people like that, we are willing to support them. The next step is certification. So certification with a national body that can further validate our embedded tutoring program. The big one in the middle is creating a cultural change. And I really can't say enough about that. We all know about institutional memory and how fragile it is. A cultural change preserves against failures of institutional memory. And we want to build things that exist long after we're gone. So hopefully that's where we're headed. We also think about new approaches. So other offerings that are beyond tutoring. We're currently working on a Spotlight instruction program, which is a supplemental instruction, and it would be like you have a particular topic that you're facing in chemistry, say. Well, we have a faculty member who is presenting on this topic 3 times a week, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, and once on the weekends. And students in any chemistry class can attend that. And I hope to be back here to talk about Spotlight in the future. The next thing, we're ready. This experience has really brought academic student support to the forefront of our college, and we're open to new ideas. As a result, we're willing to work with not just our team, but any team anywhere. We have had several visits from colleagues both within the system and out of state to come and look at this information and share ideas. And here's just a list of our current team, and again, this is a short list, but Nathan Smith is our associate dean. He oversees all of us. Shelby is the director of tutoring. She's here with me today. As I said, my name is John Thrower. We also have Anastasia and Liza and Kasha who help us out. We also have area embedded tutor coordinators. So these people are specialists in their particular area. They're faculty members. They oversee tutors in their area. And then of course, many tutors who I could not list here who do the really good work. So I appreciate the opportunity to share with you, and I'll take any questions if anyone has them.
Thanks so much, John. We do have one question online from Erica at Gateway. You mentioned that you see the students in your classes. Does the embedded tutor attend classes? How is this connection operationalized for supplemental instruction?
Yeah, so an embedded tutor may attend a class, and this is where that cultural or connecting the embedded tutor to the culture of the course really matters. If you are a faculty member who is teaching in an innovative way, so not just sage on the stage, not just a lecture, if you've got a flipped classroom, if there are opportunities to workshop things in the class, an embedded tutor can be a real success. If an embedded tutor is just sitting in a lecture, the only thing for them to do is model good student behavior. I don't consider that the most effective use. If you think about the data that I presented, it's about the collaborative, active tutoring scenario, and we want to create as many of those as possible. So where there is action happening and activity, an embedded tutor is great in the classroom. They're already a content expert. They've already had the course. So the best use really is when there's a chance to interact with students, the embedded tutor is perfect.
Thank you. Yes, we got questions in the room.
Will this be combative?
Hi, John. My name's Aaron. I haven't met you before. After the data was provided in regards to the math scores, they're lower than the other ones. Is there talk on your team about how to get those numbers up?
Yeah, so math is traditionally the difficult subject for people. I'm an English professor. Whew. Talk about math. I have no idea. But the real key, I think, is both training of the tutor, so making sure that we provide continuous training that is discipline specific, and this is where that area person becomes really key. We have an excellent math embedded tutor area coordinator who is engaged in doing discipline specific training. So not just how to be a tutor, but how to be a math tutor. So it's kind of like providing specific training based on those numbers.
And I'm going to think that that's a really important piece.
Yes.
Is making sure that those that are doing the tutoring have been given those or provided the skills and the strengths that they need to support those students. I think that's an excellent part of the piece of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, we only hire people who are already proven successes in their particular field. There are requirements, of course.
Some other questions in the room or online? All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we will